We often get asked, how do you do financial planning and analysis? What we refer to as FP&A. There's a lot of variables to it, and it can mean a lot of different things to different people. It can mean a lot of different things based on the stage of your business, right? Whether you're an operating business, manufacturing, technology, scaling venture-backed, right? There's a lot of different variables and components that can go into what you need out of financial planning and analysis. So when we talk about how do you do financial planning and analysis, you really have to start with, what is my end goal? What is the information I'm trying to get out of it, right? I like to describe FP&A work as really, at its core, it's some form of data analysis, right? There has to be some sort of data interpretation, data cleanup, data analysis that's involved with it, because really FP&A is delivering that insight with analysis, right? With a aspect of comprehension over it. So let's say you're an operating business, right? What is an operating business? What are some of the key components or KPIs that they want to look at? Those may be things such as your cash position or cash flow analysis, right? So think about a 13-week cash flow. It could also be things like a margin, your margin analysis, right? What is this product or what is this service doing in percentage of gross margin or in respect to gross margin? It could also be things like people planning. What is my capacity for throughput for manufacturing something, right? Or if you're a service-based business, what is my capacity for executing on specific engagement agreements? Start at your endpoint and walk back to what KPIs do I need to deliver upon. From there, the financial planning and analysis work starts with gathering the information from the disparate data sources that your KPIs may live in. For example, if you're talking through capacity analysis, that may be in systems like ADP or Gusto. If you're talking about your gross margin analysis, that's probably going to be living in, for the most part, your general ledger system or your ERP system. Think QuickBooks, Xero, NetSuite, the likes of those. So gathering that data, putting together an analysis on it, and then the final key component of that is really interpreting it, right? Doing the analysis on that data to provide to the end user, the end customer, right? That end customer is not as simple as just the CEO or the executive team. That may be the board, right? So the board may be the customer of some of this data. Now think about a venture-backed company. Let's use the same example. A venture-backed company is probably going to need a couple different components, metrics, KPIs for their own business. This may be things like your cash runway. When are you going to run out of cash? AKA, when do I need to begin raising more money from investors? More qualitative rather than quantitative metrics, like user adoption of some of your apps or services or products. It could be things like churn rates, right? Some of these KPIs that investors are really going to want to know about when you're going back to raise money from them, right? So starting with that end goal, kind of that's the key theme here, right? Start at that end goal with what you need to deliver upon, and then work backwards from where does that data live and how can we compile that data in order to do an analysis upon that data. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the tools or systems or apps that we use to execute upon this, right? Probably the number one that comes to mind is Excel, right? So that's the one that we all know and love. But there's a lot more out there in the ecosystem that we've begun to leverage for the work that we do with FP&A for GrowthLab. For data sources, that's probably going to be, like I said, your QuickBooks, your Xero, your NetSuite, payroll systems like ADP Gusto, Shopify, Square, Stripe, inventory management systems, right? It's the whole ecosystem. Bringing in marketing data too, right? Think about Facebook ads, Google ads, right? Bringing in, consolidating some of that data. Now, you can probably put that all through Excel, right? If you want to get fancy, some people use SQL databases to throw out into systems like Power BI or Tableau. Or what we like to use is we like to use financial planning systems like Giraffe, right? We talk about Giraffe a lot because of the ability to compile some of these data sources and produce financial models, right? Because at the end of the day, what does any business want to know, whether you're an operating business or a venture-backed business? You want to know, what does my roadmap look like? What does the journey of this business look like, and how can I execute upon my end goals, whether that's revenue growth, user growth, etc. Everyone decides to approach financial planning and analysis a bit different. At GrowthLab, we like to take a data-driven approach to it and not always use just our gut. We like to leverage a lot of these tools that I talked about today during this video. So if you have any questions about our approach or how we may handle a specific situation or just some of our best practices, we obviously have a lot of content you can see below if you subscribe to us on YouTube. check out some of our blogs and articles that kind of talk a little bit more about cash flow, financial planning, financial analysis, and the likes. And reach out to us if you have any questions. We'd love to work with you.
It was great. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Leave us some feedback. Also, check out our website, growthlabfinancial.com. Again, subscribe so you can be notified for the next one.